Hey guys, it's me again. So, long day today at work. Finished, didn't get home till 8 o'clock. Anyway, out in the garage at 9:30. Basically, what I'm going for at the moment is more wiring issues. So, this car was auto, and someone converted it to manual, and it looks like they got halfway through doing it properly. Basically, all the running gear looks legit. Been over it all properly. Well, some of it looks legit. I found a few missing bolts from some of the cross members and a few other bits and pieces. Power steering hoses weren't done up properly. The gear boot is missing, which just come from the UK, which I'm happy about. I've got a red stitched gear boot and a new handbrake leather. Reasonable price too. I think I paid I think it was about $80, including postage. They're actually very well made, so hopefully they fit well. I will, once I've fitted it, I'll do another quick video on it and post a link in it. It was off eBay, so it's pretty easy to find. This is the interior anyway. I didn't show this last time because I had the cover on, but interior is in pretty damn good nick. That's 3/4 of the reason why I bought this car. Look at the leather on it. It's still the original leather. So 80,000 Ks on this car, and the interior actually made me believe that I think it's legit. I didn't get any books with it, but the suspension and interior are very clean. I haven't changed nothing. The only thing that has a bit of wear on it is the top of the steering wheel, which I think the sun has just baked. It's literally you touch it and it's starting to crumble. So overall, back seats perfect, absolutely perfect still. No cracks, no marks, no burns, no rips. The only thing with these seats is it's gone really hard from lack of use, being out in the sun. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to have these seats reupholstered. The driver's seat has started to spread. The stitching started to come apart here because the leather's shrunk. So, got a price from that from a guy here in Adelaide, Jim's Trim. I'm looking at about $3,000, sadly, to have both seats reupholstered. I actually really like the 300ZX seats, so I'm not going to chuck different seats in the car. I like them. The only thing that I might have done different is if I'm having them reupholstered, I reckon I'm going to get Z32 put in the headrests in red, just as a little touch. I think it'll look very nice. So back to the wiring. I don't know. Where's me light? So when they did the auto transmission to manual, I think they just went hacking at stuff. They didn't really know what they were doing. So this cable here, the blue-orange, is for spark plug, coil pack 5, I believe. It had been cut right at the start of the engine bay. Then the thermos stayed on continuously. I thought it was just a sensor at the start, so I ordered a new coolant temp sensor for the computer. Put that in, no good. Still thermo stayed on last time I had it started. So I ran a test. This is my tips and tricks, depends how good you are with electrical, but I literally found the cable for the coolant temp, which was green, which I'm gonna have to hook up here still. I reckon it was green orange from memory, green yellow. I've got a computer spec chart, so I will go off that in a minute. I reckon it's one of these here. There it is. It was pinned, that one there. This is hard to do, guys, while I'm holding the camera. So it's yellow-green, more yellow, slight green stripe. That sucker in there that you can see just at the back. Not that pin, not that pin, the next one in. Anyway, that's the coolant temp sensor. For some reason, I don't know if it was intentionally cut or accidentally, but it had been cut, and it's been cut literally at the firewall. So I think these guys, whoever had this car, they just honestly, they had no idea what they were doing. The other parts that I found from the transmission, so when I first got the car, the speedo wasn't working, and I thought, great, you know, the speed sensor in the car's dead. So I ended up testing that, and it tested okay. I couldn't get it out. The sucky thing is, it hits the side of the transwell. So you got to drop the trans to get the bloody things out, which is a pain in the ass. Well, anyway, I started investigating, and I thought, instead of dropping that out, I'll keep tracing the wires. I found this loom, which is off the manual transmission. They never bothered to put this plug in. I actually had, I think that's a 6-pin plug. It's only 4 or 5 of the cables out of the 6 that are used. It was never hooked up. It was just because it was a different pin. I think that was an 8-pin on the auto. Got it over here. That was never hooked up. So it's floating around on my house apart somewhere. It was literally just left there. So this tells me that whoever did this car, whoever was playing with it, just had no freaking idea. So this was the sucker. Yeah, an 8-pin to a 6-pin on the manual. I de-pinned it. Pretty easy to do. You just whack a tiny little Phillips head screwdriver down in between each socket, and you can literally see the clips in there on that pin. You just release them gently, and you're able to pull the pins out. Here's some of the other, they're the leftovers from the auto plug. So I de-pinned that, I matched the colours. Luckily enough, the colours were actually the same from the auto to the manual for the speed sensor. They didn't vary, same colours. The other ones are for, so they're for the neutral switch. And then there's, yes, neutral switch and reverse sensor. The reverse sensor is dead. Unfortunately, once again, can't get it out. Got to pull the transmission out to replace that. I'm not going to do it just for how much work's involved with removing the manual gearbox just to replace the sensor. I'm going to wait until the clutch gets done, and then I will obviously do it at the same time. Kill two birds with one stone. But last time when I had the video, I did not have the manifold on. So basically I've reinstalled the manifold. I've reinstalled my nice painted intake pipes. Everything's in satin 2-pack black. It is a bit greasy and dirty from me putting it all in, but it's still, you know, good. I put all my air idle valve back together and all the rest of that, so that's all reattached in black. Last time I showed it, I think I said I was going to sandblast it, so she turned out beautiful, you know, looks very nice. Left the original Nissan part on here still and the serial number on the back, just in case I ever have to replace it, you know, and it still looks factory in some way. Cleaned up the cam covers a little bit, give them a wipe down. They're pretty trashed. When I do the timing belt, I am going to paint these up in black 2-pack as well. Yeah, a few good things. I mean, the other thing that makes me think this is 80,000 Ks on it legit is I broke this off. So the timing seal was still on the crank angle sensor. So when I was cleaning it fell off, but that original factory seal was still on it. So this is an 80,000 kilometer legit 300ZX, which is, I think, going to be very hard to find. That's another reason why I bought the car. Not that whoever's had this has given it the love it deserves. Unfortunately, you know, it's been mistreated. There you go, 80,996 kilometres. So she's low. Yeah. Anyway, there's some tips and tricks if you're ever doing an auto to manual conversion. Is obviously this plug up here needs to be changed. I mean, the Speedo works now that I've linked up those wires, which I was absolutely chuffed about. The auto wire, there was an auto wire from the auto transcending unit which was in here, that was cut. So I'm not sure if when they cut these, they accidentally cut the others. But what I don't understand is, why wouldn't you just do it at the ECU? So it can be fixed if it ever needs to be done. What, you know, like the problem with the speed sensor not working is the power steering didn't work. As soon as you got over 10 k's an hour, or like literally drove the car for 30 seconds, the power steering cut out. The Hikers light come on. The thermo will run if the speed sensor's not working. So that was the other reason I was hoping to get out of it. Was I was thinking, because the speed sensor's not working, the thermos would come on, because the car doesn't know what speed you're doing. Therefore, if you're sitting there in traffic, it's a safety precaution. Just endless problems, and it's like these guys just whacked it in, went good enough, we'll just drive it like that. But it would have been awful to drive. Anyway, my next bit of the task is to replace the air idle valve connector. Don't quote me on this. I know this is the air idle valve. I'm not sure what this other sucker's for. I know it's something along those lines. I did read it, but it is 10 o'clock at night, and I've had a few bevos and worked a long day. Anyway, I know it's to do with all of the idle side. Yeah, but the next thing I'm going to do is cut these off. I don't even think I'm going to de-pin them. I think I'm just going to cut them off, reheat shrink them, put both these new plugs on, because they're both absolutely toasted. Let me see if I can get the camera to focus. Yeah, look, they're heavily corroded. You can see all the green in there from where the copper's oxidised. They're falling apart. So, going to cut them off, replace them. I've got all new plugs for every single injector. These are phase 1. I've installed phase 2 injectors. So these plugs have to come off regardless. I've ordered all new injector plugs. I am going to de-pin these, so all the injector plugs come pre-cabled. I don't think I'm going to bother de-pinning them. I may. I'll have a look. I'll take a pin out of one of them and I'll see if they match. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't looked that far into it yet. If they match, I may de-pin them all just to keep the factory look, but then at the same time, look at all the look at the housings. I mean, those cables there are split. You can see the cables there are cracked. The water housing's cracked. So I probably will just end up cutting all the injector plugs off and replacing them. So yeah, that's my job for tonight and tomorrow. A tip to everyone that's ever playing around with their loom: if you ever do take your manifold off and ever basically attempting to replace all your injectors, a tip that I would say is to label. You don't have to label everything, but at least label your main areas. So here I've got, fuse box, so that clips into here. Obviously the brown plug's going to clip in next to it. At least label each end of your loom. So obviously that's the PTU, so it's pretty obvious where that goes. I've got a Series 2 on here. Series 1 is still fine. So when I first got the car, everyone bagged the first series of PTUs. I automatically assumed that mine was dead. So I lashed out, bought a new one. This is a Goss one. They're actually not too badly priced, the Goss ones. I think I paid 150 bucks for this unit, so brand new. Pretty good reviews on it, so that's a tip if you ever need to get one of them. I mean, that's not a bad price. The adapter I bought off of eBay, which, believe it or not, actually had two wires that weren't connected properly, and I managed to get a full refund. Lucky that it did not short the PTU. I thought it had at the start, but I got away with it. Anyway, just label, a few bits and pieces. So I got my air regulator, the air idle valve labelled, and the other plug for the other socket as well. Just label some of the stuff that's going to be harder to see, like, the boost solenoids. I've labelled one of them just because they drop right down there, and then you remember to look for it. Some plugs are hard to see. So that's a tip when you're doing your loom. It will make your life easier later on. So I am going to sort the wiring out. I'm going to delete most of these solenoids. Now that my new EEPROM chips come for the 550C injectors, I'm going to delete half of this. The EGR pipes, I've cut them. I've snipped them. They are gone. I've blocked the EGRs off on the manifold. I've done all the deletes. You can just see the EGR pipe there. I'm going to see how it goes once I put this new EEPROM in, because it's meant to shut off the EGR valve. If that's the case and it stays shut, I'm not even going to worry about capping the ends of these. If I find any small evidence that they are still running, even the slightest, maybe the EGR valves not shutting properly from carbon buildup, I will plug those off. I probably will even crimp them and weld the ends shut with my TIG welder. So, hopefully I don't have to. When the motor comes out in winter, I will completely remove the EGR valve and plug it off, so it'll be gone permanently. So, just a little video for the moment, just to keep everyone, up to date with what's going on. Pretty happy with how it's looking at the moment. It looks, if you've seen what this looked like before when I got it, this is a massive upgrade. Been buying all my parts from Concept Z. I got the injectors, they're Detchworks. Got them from Concept Z. Actually a pretty good price, 650 bucks on sale US, which for Detchworks injectors, you can't find them here on eBay even for like 1,300 bucks. They're around $1,300 to buy on eBay. By the time I paid the shipping and the convert and all the rest of it, I saved quite a bit of money buying them from the US. So pretty up there injector. Not quite as good as Nismo, but getting there. So I've got my new fuel pipes all on there. It's happening. I'm hoping to have all of this cabling sorted out by tomorrow afternoon. All new plugs with everything that needs to be replaced. Some of the connectors still aren't too bad, that's not too bad. The connections, one of those has been replaced at some point in its life, I would assume, because one of them is a real bronzy copper. So that one's busted, so that'll be replaced. I'll just keep going, keep replacing stuff, keep replacing all the prongs, but a heap, because they've still got the rubber seals in them, aren't corroded. But anything that's corroded or damaged will be replaced. Like, what's that off the TPS, throttle position sensor, and look at the corrosion on it. I've ordered the new one from Concept Z. They were actually holding my order back from a couple of the plugs that they didn't have in stock that they had to order, and I was like, come on guys, just send it and send me these later because you're holding me up. So the biggest thing I wanted was the injector so I could get all the manifold and everything back on. I mean, at the end of the day, this still worked when I was running the car, so it's not going to hold me back from driving it. Yes, it'll be, have to replace it later on, but at least I can get the car running again. I mean, look at the intake pipe, intercooler piping. That's what these look like. They were trashed. I mean, these look absolutely beautiful now. They got a finish. They almost look like powder coat. Mind all the dust, but yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I don't know what else to say for the moment. Gonna have to extend this earth. At some point someone's cut it and put some piece of crap connection on, and the thing is it doesn't reach the other side of the battery properly if you actually earth it on the body. So that was good of them, you know, just heaps of dodgy stuff that I have to fix that someone else has done. They obviously just didn't care about the car. Did the turbo lines. I've seen a heap of guys. Here's another tip. A heap of guys were saying to basically leave the little rail underneath and just bend it around underneath. Well, what for? I deleted that little rail because there was a small joiner of tube in between. I literally bent the pipe from the turbo around a little bit and ran this nice red rubber hose back up in behind. In there, which connects to your heater core and all the rest of it. So way neater, way less tube, just hidden. So much easier to remove the manifold now if I ever have to. I'm hoping all the injectors have seated properly. They should have, you know, I took my time with it, I didn't rush, so hopefully I don't have to take it off for a very long time. Or at least not for any issues that I've done, you know, installing everything. Yeah, so on with the cabling, tidy all this up. All of this auto crap will come out when I pull the motor, so I'll delete anything that's not needed. I'm debating on deleting the cruise control. What do you guys think? Have you deleted yours cruise control? Are you considering deleting yours? I'm torn. I mean, like, this car isn't going to be that type of car, cruiser. It's going to be a weekend, go for a cruise to a winery, you know, have some lunch, go for a bit of a burn, go down the bay, whatever, you know, just get out and about for a bit in it. It's not really going to be a long distance going to drive to the other side of Australia in it for something to do. It's going to be my weekend car. So I don't think the cruise control is really going to get used. Do I keep it there because it's a factory item? Well, I mean, it'd look a lot nicer if that just wasn't there in my eyes. I mean, it's just less crap in these congested engine bays. Yeah, it's going to make life working on the car a little bit easier. And as far as I'm concerned, like, any little bit easier on this car is a good thing. So, yeah. Cool. Well, I'm going to leave it there and I'm going to get back into this cabling because it's impossible to do while I'm holding the camera. I'm not going to sit it down and record myself working on the car. It's, you know, I'm not about that. If you've got any questions, leave a comment and I'll do my best to answer them. With any problems that I've found, or if I can help someone else, I'm all about helping other people. So, yeah, that's it, guys. Have a good night. Thanks for watching.